some more diary. I haven't been here. Have you finished your diary yet? Or your journal? I haven't been here since freaking January. Oh, yeah. I've been riding up the storm every day almost. I've been like that for almost 2 years. Richest period of my life. It's like bizarre. I wrote a trilogy. I'll send you that this week. Yeah. They're basically about they're centering around the SCOTUS decision this week to let every gun in the United States be a machine gun. Did you hear about that? Yeah. They rescinded the ban on post stocks. So it centers around that, but it's all my moms have been eating right around that. If I were to have the memories, I would come up here for I'm doing some therapy for my early drive over here where I get a little bit of sun through the windshield. There's a film I want to see over at Enzy. They opened on Friday, Robot Noir or something. Have you heard about that? It's an animated work. It's getting a lot of good buzz. think I missed that one. Yeah, I mean anything they show there, it's hard to it's hard to miss. That was still when I didn't have a car. Yeah. It's high on my list. Also, Poor Things. Did you see that? A couple of my friends say that was their favorite movie on the east side. That's on the east side. My favorite movie of the entire year. I haven't seen it yet. That was during the spell when I didn't have a car. But I'll see it eventually. Great to see you. It's been an ice age. You're doing a good. I can play the piano a little buzz, but doing poetry it kind of hinders me.
I just get like super, my head feels super floaty.
Yeah.
And then after 20 minutes,
Yeah. So I'm gonna wait.
do you know what like?
No, not at all. I'm doing something, a 4-poem sequence tonight. It's kind of in my early middle period, so I was kind of reflecting Whitman. So I wanted to just. Oh, hell, welcome.
Again.
No, this is the first one I committed to.
And you already have this out.
Yeah, 18
months.
Yeah, it was on great.
Was that show the only one you saw in French?
And that was all intimidating because I hadn't seen it. Because I was still working.
Yeah.
Almost every minute I would get out at 7 and I didn't
were some really good shows.
Hey, they're
So
$20.
the screen I just bought is like this size,
I'll get one on the way out. Thank
and
you.
the remote is really tricky, you know? But the remote is wired, and it's like the wire has to hang. Like I'm so disappointed. Like I have to, I'm gonna figure something out to circumvent that because I'm not having like a cable hanging all like white cable.
I wonder if there's a way.
Like normally they're like infrared remotes or something. I don't know, because that's what I thought it was.
I mean, I could hear it in your voice.
I think maybe there's, I think there's only two buttons down and up. So I think maybe I'm just going to keep my stick and leave the
Driving over back and forth. Actually, I did catch a little something in my chest, but I took some zinc. So it only lasted like.
So because of that, I'm thinking think of a good place to put the RPX. Like it's too close, you know?
Yeah.
You see how it's gonna cut. So I'm thinking maybe, I was thinking maybe to put it then like this way, or maybe the speaker. I just have to find a way to hang that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just gonna
Anchor. Yeah. You could do an anchor in the water. You know. It's
yeah, but it
easier.
has to be far from the, like that would be tricky because it has to be far from the. So I thought maybe like if it's right there and then I could put a little chain because you know usually the wire is lower than
Right. Yeah.
so.
I texted something.
I'm always thinking about these little details, but
I
you know,
know.
when you have to do it, you have to think about all
Yeah,
that.
the guy from the islands. He usually sits right there.
I lose a lot of sleep on stupid things. Like today, I was there with the air compressor, like redoing the upholstery, you know, like it was bugging me. I saw a few things that you need to.
You and I will. I'm probably gonna be up all night trying to solve your data problem.
Don't worry about that. If I have to, I'll just like cut it, make an extension, and bring it all the way here. I'll figure it out. I have all
Not very much, but a few. When I started reading his haiku, Frigid Love, his car was like, in a good way. I wish he would read sometime. He is kind of, he's definitely innocent. Oh yeah.
Hey everybody!
Hello.
Well, yeah, hi! Yes, nice. So I can be here tonight and act like a king, and that's because my wife and my youngest son are in Mexico City singing. They're performing right now, and so this is my living room. No. Let's be straight. It's my wife's living room. Okay, I just live here. So, Janas Smith Durkee, everybody. Yeah. So her artwork is here all month. She's did this live last week. Yeah, and then she's working. Obviously, you're going too fast. You're gonna finish before the end. But she's also gonna paint live on the 22nd. So on Saturday. This is our last concert of the season. The following week is a play all weekend. I hope you guys attend and spread the word. Young theater guys, a light shoe. What is it called? Shoebox light. Right. Light up shoebox. And so it's cool, and they're doing Silence. You saw the ad, right? The Silence, a play by Moira Bufiri. I think I don't know if I'm right or not, but it's going to be hilarious apparently, and so I hope that you make it for that. So, and of course on Saturday it's a collaboration with Orlando Jazz Collective. So they were part of our Timucua Amplifies Black Voices last year when they brought in Braxton Cook. And so now it's like local band. They're trying to raise funds to bring more great artists here to Timucua. for you guys, and so I hope you come to the show on Saturday, next Saturday. So there's a couple of things I like. This is intimate. This is gonna be really nice because it's really intimate, right? Because I guess Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, everybody. You know, either you're a father, or you have a father, or you know a father. You know? So you at least know one, because I'm a father. So. So the crowd is a little bit smaller than normal, maybe because it's Father's Day, I don't know. But whatever the case may be, I need to talk to you about something very important. Because we're a non-profit, the Tim Quartz Foundation. We've been growing for years, and so we are facing a special challenge now, because our governor, I was going to say, I was finding for an adjective. I was looking for an adjective. I am not a wordsmith, so I'm going to leave that to you guys.
We'll give you a punch.
Yes. So our governor didn't cut a little bit in the arts, he cut the entire arts budget. The entirety, 100% of the arts, gone.
Of course.
And so what that means for us is not like the end of the world, per se, directly. But what it means is like $250,000 for Dr. Phillips, $200,000 for PO, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to hit our donors hard. And so, like, all of a sudden, our funding is going to dry up. And so we need your help with that by spreading the word. Come volunteer at our events. Like if the community rallies around the arts, governor or no governor, we're going to make it through it, no problem. Like, it all depends on you and your friends, right? So talk to your friends about it. Hey, man, have you heard of this place? They have a show. If it's not sold out, you should go there. Like, if we sell out everything, we're going to be doing pretty good. You can become a member for $10 a month. You can become a member. That's really cool. If you work for a small business, for example, you can sponsor this series or any series for like $5,000. It's a big number, but if you have a business, your ad's going to go on there. It's going to go on the video. The videos stay there forever. It's a pretty good thing, and it's a good level of exposure. And then you get the website, our social media. Like, we try really, really, really hard to give you as much as we can. You get free tickets, all kinds of things. So think about it. And if you know a business owner who might be like, whose audience or clientele might work with this audience, talk to them about it. Like my dentist is a donor, right? My ENT is a donor, like, because I talk to the people in my life about it, and they want to help, and people want to help. So if you help us, I am totally confident that we will make it. Now the other thing is that we also, for a lot of grants and things, we have to have more information about our audience, and this is where you come in, because we have a survey going on, and it just showed up on the website like 12 minutes ago. And so if you go on the website, you'll find the survey. If you fill the survey, and again, like anybody who's been here before, or maybe who have not been here before, we'd like to know why they haven't come, But we definitely want to know what you like, why you come to Timucua, what we can improve, all these kinds of things. And it's good for us directly, and it's good for us indirectly, because when we ask for grants, when we have good data, then we can answer some of these questions more accurately and with data, and so we can prove it, and which is much, much, much better for us. So thank you so much. Now I've talked way, way too long, but Janas is going to go back to work, and great Lauren White is going to talk to you, everybody. Like, I might as well tell you a couple of things. If you're reading tonight, you have, there's the mics are there. You have nothing to worry about. Just stand in the light portion of the carpet, and you should be fine. Right? Yeah, you'll be good. And we don't have anything in July. I will not be here. I have to go visit my mom in July. So my mom, the pioneering, feisty, feminist warrior, and I need to talk to her, and hopefully she will recognize me. That's a different story. She suffers from Alzheimer's, so that's why I'm going. So I want to see her every day while I'm there. So Lauren White, everybody.
So I actually covered most of what I was going to say. Stay in the little square on the carpet. That's can get you on the live stream. The point where the light is blinding you, that means that you are in the right spot. So Benoit did mention that we are closed in July, and I know that confused a few people, and they asked me about it. So, one of the things that we started doing last year that I'm going to keep doing is all open mic June and December. We will have features the rest of the months like usual, but just these 2 months, end out the season, end out the year, and we'll do all open mic. One of the things that Benoit forgot to mention is that in Orlando Weekly, which is when they do Best of Orlando, Timucua did get nominated for Best Venue.
Cool.
And I believe it was Best Kept Secret.
Yeah, and Alterity Orchestra.
Yes, the orchestra. So, but of course, should this place be a secret? Come on, you guys. So, tell everybody about it. There are actually some postcards for the Authentic Selves show that you can take and pass around, and do the survey. In the notes, you can put Lauren is awesome. And yeah, let's have a good night. So it's going to be a short show. We got Father's Day, Happy Pride, by the way, and Happy Juneteenth also. And I'm going to be slightly lenient on time tonight, since we have a small crowd, but don't go crazy. So first three, Lord have mercy, Micah, Nelson, and Christian. Yeah, Micah.
Thank you. I'm going to dedicate this set to my sobriety. About a year ago, I had an experience where an alcohol does not mix well with bipolar cocktails. And I realized that it was a coping mechanism that I needed to get rid of. So there's going to be some dark poems, but there's going to be some pretty poems towards the end, hopefully. This one's called I Don't Love Myself Today. I don't love myself today. When the little candies that spark the receptors in my brain malfunction, when mind and heart have no place in the same room, when you love something so deeply and passionately that you choke it to death, I don't love myself today. When I struggle to remember the right from the left of what makes the roadmap of my own personality, when I love you seems so foreign, I just want to hear it over and over to remember it's real. I don't love myself today. When all I want is to feel needed, like an integral piece to a puzzle that isn't quite the entire picture when it's missing. When I feel so fucking needy and clingy, silence feels like nothing but an admission of the realization that I don't love myself today. But tomorrow is a whole new story, written on a whole new page. I'll keep turning them one by one, and I'll feel my own love that way. Let me see here. I marked the pages, but that doesn't mean they're ever easy to find. I recently got my heart broken. That led to a lot of deep shadow work that was a really good thing, so this is called Inner Child. To my inner child, always told who or what to be, questioning it all, you are missed and you are loved. Your dreams may have been many: the astronaut, the singer, the chef, and video game designer. I recognize your love of being curious, and I value it. I know life became difficult and you felt the need to hide yourself away. So many changes, chaos, love, and grief. It seemed internalized anger was the only relief. You don't have to be angry anymore. You are safe. You are accepted. I recognize you now. It's time to explore again. No more hiding away. I promise to work hard to let your prison walls down. Allow all of those eccentricities free. Free to live, free to be me. Last one, if I can find where I marked the page. There we go. This one is fully dedicated to my sobriety. It's funny how the world slows down when you let go of your vices, how you let it all in. The pain you have held back, the fear you thought you would drown in, the grief weighing your feet down, no longer hidden, now seen. The empty corners in the halls of your heart where someone once kept their love, now illuminated and felt. Yet now there is a change, an evolution. Time slows, not to a still, but to a manageable pace. What were once blurs of motion now come into focus. You notice the sensation of the breeze, the movement in the trees, the many colors of the sunrise, the peaceful transition to dusk. You take in a deep breath, slow, simple, and clean. Your first breath relived. You start with yourself. Work hard to understand the why. Change your course and learn to forgive. What it was you were before, you have changed course now. The chains you forged can be released one link at a time. With new tools, you remove them. Leave them lying on the ground. It won't be easy, but it will feel right. And in this sobriety, you can rediscover your light. Your vices only hid it away, granted it permission to hide, but now you can grant it permission to shine bright. So now the healing begins. The progress may be slow, but remember, one breath, one moment, one day at a time. Today, I am thankful for my sobriety.
Happy Father's Day for all the fathers in the audience. The name of this poem is When. When we let them take guns against us, the day we let them. The previous night was sharp as moonlight. When we rise convulsed against a sky of ashes, take guns against us. When we strike out from any limits to define us, if we let them destroy us. No voice to hush us, no muscle to choke us, if we let them push us. Die in peace, sea below us. When we let them take guns against us, we have given away our power to protect us. When? This next poem is called Spirits. Thank you. This next poem is called Spirits Waving Free. I wrote this morning, by the way. Somehow there's no direction home. I ain't traveling on that line. I miss the signs along the way. I traveled fast but never got far. Somehow all directions pointed in all kinds of different ways. I managed to have a sense of dislocation, to bear the hurt, the sorrow, and the pain. Somehow I'm always falling by crawling to the top. There's no sense of warning, lost in the struggle to survive. Somehow, spirits waving free, ungrateful for the blessings I received. Walked straight into my own unfolding when I stepped away from unbelief. Thank you. This last one's called Fields of Praise. Frightened by the hand of wealth, frightened by the ghost of poverty. Between a trestle and a chasm, the first steps are like the edges of a puzzle. From nothingness to heavingness, or so it seems if having less, creation is born of emptiness. The first step always feels out of place. I have nothing for a vessel but a bowl filling up with rain. I have given my possessions for a shelter from the pain. Nobody cares if what took you was an ambulance or a train. Those that always loved you care about your passions, not your things. My soul is filled with light. I can see behind curtains. My soul is filled with light. I can see behind curtains. A fire can't burn the light. A shadow cannot hide the candle. The moment I awaken, thoughts have no dimension, not that I can mention. Pay your respects without objection. Everywhere I look, there's no direction. There's no end to my projection. The sun has no shadow in a desert. The purpose of magic is to make exceptions. I wrote, and the angels followed me. I was up all night cleaning windows. When God smiles, it's very late at night.
Excuse me, my voice is a little gone, but I'll try to speak up. The last time I was here, I read kind of an intimate scene, but obviously she had a flashback to some previous experiences. So this will be the second half of that chapter. A few days later, we were making out on her bed again when I felt her start to unbuckle my belt and unbutton my pants. I grabbed her wrists. Are you sure? We don't have to do this at all if it's too much for you. I mean that. I want it. I let go of her wrists and allowed her to pull my pants off as I lifted her shirt and bra up above her head. She slid her lips around my penis and started to finger herself inside her jeans. My head became lightheaded as I felt my legs closing around her head before my body arched upward and my thighs squeezed her head between them. I heard her struggle to breathe for a moment before the adrenaline from my panic allowed me to force my legs apart from their orgasm-induced lock. Sorry, I lost control of my legs for a few seconds there. It's okay, I kind of liked it. It was exciting. I let my back fall against her bed and covered my face with my hands. Stop, or I'm going to die of embarrassment. She crawled on top of me and we laughed before she looked down into my face. I'm still horny. Do you want me to finger you? No, getting fingered by someone else makes me feel like a kid in middle school behind the bleachers or in their room trying not to get caught by their parents. So do you just want to have sex then? I mean, yeah, but you just came. So, I'm still hard. Won't it hurt you to keep going? I don't know. My ex was always in a rush to be done, but I don't think so. I'd like to try it, but if you're not comfortable, we can stop. We'll try it, but you have to tell me to stop if it hurts, okay? I reached for a condom and put it on while she took off her pants. Again, I let her lead a slow but steady up and down rhythm as she rode me and fingered her clit. I put my arms around her back and slowly reclined until I was flat on the bed and she was arched above me. There was no pain, just a warm glow pulsating from where her vagina was wrapped around my penis. Does it hurt? No, I don't think I'll come again, but it feels good. Are you okay? She nodded as she increased the intensity and her breathing became heavier. She took my hands and put them around her waist. Help me. I grabbed her firmly and began to push back up against her groove with a counter rhythm that syncopated with hers on 2 and 4. Eventually, she pushed her groin deep into mine and swiveled around before lying flat on my chest. Are you done? She nodded her head against my chest and breathed out warm air from her mouth as she got off from above me and laid at my side. I pulled off the condom and held it up to the light to see that it was still empty inside before I discarded it into the bedside trash bin. We lay naked together in her bed, the sweat of our bodies cooling against the cold seeping in from outside the window before we covered ourselves in her sheets and spooned to sleep. After that point, we had sex regularly, but I always asked if she was still okay with what we were doing. And as much as I enjoyed the physicality of the act and the orgasms, there was nothing more satisfying or arousing to me than when I would make her close her eyes and lose her breath and barely be able to whisper, "Please don't stop," or "right there," or just the word "yes" over and over. Sex became an exploratory performance. Each session, I craved to discover what I could do to elicit these responses from her, my own orgasms a formality or secondary consideration at best, next to the goal of divine communion with her most intimate desires, the closest physical approximation for everything I felt for her. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. For the regulars that have been coming for several months, I think have heard the story of Christian's memoir, just continuing. And I think that's been the most graphic part of it.
I agree.
Yeah, I was not ready. There's been a lot of teasing, but we finally got there. Thank you guys all again. Sorry, I'm done. Okay. Let me just do the next three. Dasha, Claver, and Anthony. I'm gonna She's coming. It's all good.
Core. How fit this? How to glue? One Godhead seeming two. The dart deflecting promise. The hedge me round about. No darkness dash my day, he sounds. No arrows strike me down. No evil settle sink to bottom of this mud soul's loamy ground. And yet also I make up what is lacking in his cross. Indeed, this pining passion takes no sense. How fit this, how to glue, how loosen matter dense. One Godhead seeming two. God bled for me. Oh, happy fault. He took what place was mine. How reconcile this cornered seat with earthen agonizing brine that daily also brims? We know and soon what riddled rook is ours. Our deepened peace moves forward and aback, along each primary axis, arm of rude. Perpendicular musts of choosing trace the shape, and we but brood allow it, cross in private, met. Taken though, embraced, our rhomboid plight full-faced, where only countersides, the touching no, are equal, and even touching's kiss oblique. Deciding, sliding with delight on this defective board, in all our moves, we are flung from flatness, claim the circles, the spheres. Not to tease outmoded ancientries is purpose of my rhyme, what rhyme there is. Ignore the form, just seize the content, please. 'Tis Einstein's quantum's skewish checkered backdrop hardy now. I speak of spheres elliptic and sing of shells gone cryptic smithereens. How fit this first, this second, glue wave point string now reckoned onto 7-deckard fortress of a past. Does walled-in, hedged-in buttress kaplunk with laddered mental blisses falling fast? A bunk, a star for me, come swing by me. I still can learn my lessons off the sun. And the sun, it would be searing with its elemental blaze. The stealthy shift from light to heavy, that dread and fundamental phase of fusion. But oh, to suck the denser drop, to brave the brighter breed, our space tucks tighter curvature round high corona's bead, and it is given. Hydrogen bide hydrogen, all manner of mire fall through. Taken though, embraced, helium weight full-faced. The plethora deflects, only single sting pierced through, and chosen just for me. So as molten yet brooks prominence, despite beseech for cool, I fly a stellar tongue at it, fiery astrakhan of flare.
I am Dasha Abrams. I am from Milwaukee. I am here visiting.
Awesome city.
Thank you. Thank you. I am here visiting, and I found out about this place as I was getting on the plane. Or no, I found out about this place as I was getting on the plane and said, I have got to get there. I am a member of the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets. I am also a member of this international organization whose t-shirt I am wearing. Acronymically named POET, which stands for People of Extraordinary Talent. We do have chapters all over the country and in 3 different countries in Africa. I am a part of the Wisconsin chapter there. So there are a couple of pieces I do want to share with you guys. This first one is interactive. So when I point to you guys, as a part of being the POET organization, the Wisconsin chapter, we are the only chapter that does this, we yell out, POET! So when I point to you guys, I need you guys to do that. So when I say, I am a POET! There you go. So, I am a POET! Crouching in the shadows, hidden from sight, the wallflower blended in the mantle, the soft light flickering in the corner of your eye. Duality is my might, sun and moon drawing darkness and light, invoking death and light within the stanzas of my rhymes, outlier of times. Fit in, I no longer try. Controversial healer of trauma, I've survived. My perception bends your mind. I break constrictive boxes in which you are confined. My flow of words are spells. I keep that foresight. Viewing from my third eye what must die to bring forth love and light. Daughter from Arcturus, energy luminous, quietly glowing like embers. Do not test my might. If you ignite my fire, I'll expose my strength and power. Supernova on your ass. My words always last. They spread beyond galaxies in outer space. I am a POET! Poetically already excellent tennis, purposely orchestrating emotional therapies, penning organic, energetic treaties, playfully originating, entertaining theatrics, proudly orating enchanted teachings, person of extraordinary talent. I am a POET! Poet. Thank you. This next piece is one of my, this is one of my signature pieces. So, it is called, I wear red. She's minding her business, not looking for recognition, not being suspicious, yet their eyes on her remain intent as they conjure a plan in their brains to create some sort of remains, enjoy some pleasure before creating others' pain. She's minding her business, not looking for recognition, not being suspicious, essentially inconspicuous to the rest of the masses surrounding her space. They place essential markers in the presence of her face, creating distractions unnoticeable to the factions, divided by fractions, everyone's lack of awareness, multiplying the distance between her and that space where they first saw her face until she's alone, in a room that's unknown to her, scared, partially aware, yet hopeful. This is not where her ultimate fate will play out. Looking for escape, she sees none. These vulturous swines have her unaware of the time she's been in this place where they torture her with beatings and rape. They won't let her escape. They silence her screams with fabric and tape across her newly disfigured face, the scars by their hands and fists that they create. Hogtied, they have her. She has no idea why or what she did to deserve this. She was minding her business, not looking for recognition, not being suspicious, essentially inconspicuous to the rest of the masses surrounding her space. Read are the messages she sent. Unread were the replies left unsaid. No response from her to anyone. She has left them unread. Curiosity rises. Messages left unread suddenly surprises the one she normally had read, so they go searching for answers to questions they can't conjure. This lack of communication is all the way out of her character. Read are the news stories about her disappearance across medias of all kind for a short time before she's forgotten by the masses over the short time, while her close circle remain looking for answers of her disappearance. Their persistence stays the same. The scene is ridiculous. The very lack of credence exists as they keep searching, hoping, and praying she is not dead. Red, her favorite color they wear as they wonder what the hell happened to her. Red, from her busted head. Red, from her hair dripping. Red, drops from the bed she last laid her head. She last closed her eyes in pain. She breathed her last pain sigh. Red, fills my face, my hands, my body with rage from the pain that sister endured that through their last day. Red, painted across my face as I stand to trace her handprint across my face, as I chase every abuser, every kidnapper, every pedophile, every rapist, every murderer, every sex trafficker who attempts to strip away the feminine race. I wear red for my native sisters, for my black sisters, for my Latin sisters, for my Asian sisters, for my white sisters, in defiance of the pain to the families from whom they have been stripped away, from the families whose messages are left unread. I wear red for my sisters who stand together, protecting each other, building bonds of alliances against oppression forever, choosing to be our sisters' keepers. Red are our stories forever, freeing ourselves in defiance against injustice, against these monsters, storming brothels, saving our sisters from kidnappings, beatings, forced sexual activity, and murderers. Red, our color of strength. As we open our books to be read, our story shall bring light. Thousands upon thousands of texts left unread will be read, for our sisters and daughters will be protected by us, the mothers and big sisters and aunts who will never leave them unread. We will stand and fight for our sisters, our freedom, our protection, our decisions, our inclusion, our infusion. I wear red. Once again, I am from Milwaukee, so yes, you can find me on social media. I am on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube under Dasha Abrams, the poet. I do have 2 books that are published already. And if you guys want to come to Milwaukee and come and grace some of our scenes, we do have quite a few different scenes throughout Milwaukee and throughout Racine and Kenosha. And they're just all over the place. So you guys can look me up and I can hook you guys up to different poetic scenes. If you guys ever come to visit Milwaukee. Thank you for allowing me to grace your stage.
So, wow, back finally. I got a poem for our illustrious governors. I got one. All right, but I'm gonna start with a couple short ones. since I got a little extra time, I'm going to take advantage.
Oh, okay.
This first one's called Black Holes Haiku. Your eyes are black holes. They drew me close. I fell in. I've been falling since. This next piece is called Cornbread, the Urban Legend. Cornbread isn't who you think it is. It's actually, I'm gonna explain it to you guys. It's actually graffiti, right, with hip hop. It's a big thing. And this guy named Cornbread, he's a part of that. So anyway, I wrote this in dedication to him. Cornbread lives, graffitied on the sides of an elephant. Zookeepers stood astonished. Was it the elephant or the audacity of a nobody bold enough to spray paint their name into legend? All right. The one dedicated to our wonderful governor. This is actually very much inspired by him. But yeah, I think it's very fitting considering the situation we're currently facing. It's actually, you'll see, I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and read it. It's called The Dry Erase Board. In grade school, I was told that erasing yesterday's notes left open space for tomorrow's lesson. That was a lie. Erasing the dry erase board was like stabbing the syringe, Interstate 95, needle point dripping poison into Miami's Overtown district. The South's Harlem, withered as asphalt paved through its heart, asphalt bleached white like a blank dry erase board. Clean dry erase boards are mass graves. I would never see a teacher erasing the dry erase board the same again. In second grade, a boy I won't name was my friend till he called me the N-word. The ER was a thumbtack serrated with the teeth of slave-catching dogs, stuck in the dry erase board's frame. A reminder of the stakes that nailed people, Yoruba, Ashanti, tribes people, to dank slave ships that sank into blackness. Tribes turned black under white moonlight, glowing white as a clean dry erase board. I would never see a teacher erasing the dry erase board the same again. In ninth grade at Santa's Enchanted Forest with Chloe and Tiffany, my close friends, we laughed, joked as we left. Didn't notice police cars till one drove up on the sidewalk, clutching holstered guns. They demanded ID. I handed student ID. I was 15. Asked what I was doing, just being 15. I faced them. 6 holstered but unfastened guns, 15 Grim Reapers loaded in each, one me armed with student ID. Pops pulled up, rescued me. Curfew was my crime, 9 p.m. Saturday. I was 15. That night was my American quinceañero, my rite of passage. The boy dissolved into American villain like Emmett, like Ernie, like Eric, like Jose, like Trayvon, like Khalif, like stories not printed on unmarked gray space in newspaper, blank as a clean dry erase board. I would never see a teacher erasing the dry erase board the same again. College, the apartment, knock at the door. I typed stories that rained over white space, letters on pages, keyboard clacking. It's the only noise I made for hours. Police didn't say hello, barge insane noise complaint, clutching holstered guns again asked what I was doing. They searched silence for the perfect place to find probable cause. Thank God they didn't plant it. A seed bearing rotten fruit that tastes bitter as a checkbox, yes for convicted felon, or a life boxed and buried in the coffin. They burned and lynched for less, mail mutilated corpses as postcards, pocketed charred body parts as souvenirs. Many dead are blank spaces, like blank spaces Lynch and King Gonzalez Day pictures. I would never see a teacher erasing the dry erase board the same again. They've been paving since Wall Street was made with cobblestone, asphalt paved, entombed the first stocks traded, people paved over, erased in the asphalt abysses of unmarked graves, their bones still pillars to pavement, the bedrock to this nation, but still erased, kaleidoscopes of people erased, libraries erased, tribes erased, blood painting the flag's red stripes erased, the poem I just read erased. I would never see a teacher erasing the dry erase board the same again. I would never, ever, ever let myself be erased again. It's always a blessing to be up here. I'm very thankful to partake in this, and I appreciate you guys that it reached you. I'm not so much, happy for the applause. I'm just happy that you're conveying to the fact that it stuck with you. So I'm very thankful for that. And then if you want to follow me, I'm gonna go ahead and plug myself because I feel like we're in a community moment right now. And so let's go ahead and talk about this. So my Instagram, I don't really do much on Facebook too much, but on my Instagram it's TC the Griot, and Griot is spelled Griot. TC the Griot, Griot. All right, thank you guys.
So I did forget to say that I do like for you guys to share your Instagrams or whatever social you like. One, because everybody likes to follow everybody here. Two, because I post pictures and videos, as most of you already know, and I like to tag you all in them. And if you're not performing, please still take pictures and videos. You can tag me. I'm _poetic engineer. I forget like every other month. All you guys know this. And please share whatever you have. So if you come up here, do not be afraid to plug yourself. I do want to say a few things about this round. First of all, not everybody might know Claver had a car accident a few months ago, and Guy has a car and comes here. So thank you. This was one of the places that he was sad not to be, which goes into me being privileged, Dasha, that you came here while being on vacation, sort of, while your daughter's working, from Milwaukee, you and your father. I am very privileged for that you would come grace the stage while you are here from out of state. And Anthony...
I drove here.
Okay, you drove here. Well, we're still happy to have you here too. And Anthony, I'm proud of you, as always. Your growth is amazing. So, let's check in back here with Janas, who has been loving the energy. Yeah. I've been seeing her up here like, yeah. Art feeds art, right?
Art means, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what have we got back here?
Yeah, I'm just working on this portrait. Actually, it was funny. I work in a studio with 22 other artists. I work in a studio with 22 other artists here in Orlando. I'm from Indiana, but lived on the West Coast until about 4 years ago. And I flopped down here in Orlando and landed at McRae Art Studio, just over in Paramore, and it's pretty amazing experience. And today they were giving me so much grief. They were like, "What are you gonna paint?" I said, "I don't know." And they're like, "What? How do you not know?" And I'm like, "Look, I'm just gonna get up there and feel it." And I had a couple of ideas in mind. This is Andy Griffith, actually. It's my favorite movie. During COVID, I watched all these like dark movies. I don't know if you knew anything about Andy Griffith, but he's not just Sheriff Taylor. He actually made this movie called A Face in the Crowd that is stunning. He is so wounded in that show, and he's amazing. And Patricia Neal's in it. Anyway, I love doing these kind of stills from old movies, just because one, I hone my own skills. just practicing portraits, which I love to do. And the other thing is I just, there's a kinship with old movies, spoken word, art. I was a musician too, growing up, and I was feeling the energy.
Yeah, I saw you over here like, okay. Like while she was painting, like,
all right.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me share the stage. I appreciate it.
So, since we have time, should I read?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lower your expectations, please. Please. It's been a while. Anybody ever go back to things they read when they were kids?
Yes.
And you were like, what was going on with me? Like, not only is this, kind of garbage, but just where was I? So, this is a poem. I just picked something, honestly, while I was standing here. I'm like, I should probably read something. I wrote this probably over 20 years ago, because I'm kind of old now, and I put together a collection of poems. I self-published them on Amazon. It's nothing special. And for whatever reason, I decided that I was going to put together a collection of everything I had written in the last 20-something years, which was like 400 pages, and I will never do that again. And I am surprised that anybody has actually read that whole book and enjoyed it, because even I would throw myself out of a window after it. The second one's shorter, because dating an asshole will give you good words. So, this is one of my childhood, teenage angst, not really edited poems, so just go back with me to Little Lauren. Whew, and I haven't read in a while, so please. Quite by accident one day, I was sitting on a bench alone, staring into nothingness, seemingly content. Then came this little girl, a familiar girl. She sat beside me, prim and proper, soft dark skin, deep brown eyes, an angel almost, and in her presence my soul felt more tattered than the clothes I was wearing. So I tried to ignore her. No, she tugged at my sleeve. I thought it would come off in her tiny hand. She began to pose her questions. What is love? She asked. Didn't look at her. That was a waste, I said. Worthless, painful, never love. What is hate? Hate is the only true emotion. What forces you to soldier on, what keeps you alive. And what is life? I cringe. Life is a trial. It's agony. It is blood outpoured and never regained. It is broken hearts and dreams. Life is being here and dying. Nothing more. When I finished, she was silent. I finally brought myself to look at her, to look deep into her eyes. There was sweetness there. There was hope. There was innocence. Would I destroy her with the bitterness within me? How could I speak these words? How could I let her think these things? And so I took her in my arms and took her tiny hand, held it tight. Let me try this again, I said. Love is a splendid feeling that should be given and felt, and though sometimes it hurts, we never give up on it. Hate is for the lost, those who gave up on love and so they choose anger. Life is not just what you see, it is only what you make it, so choose a path. Never look back. Do not be ashamed of it. When I finished, her eyes were shining. She smiled. I looked at this child, this girl I used to be, the one who lives in me. I realized I had forgotten all I told her. I had forgotten what life could be, forgotten happiness. I had only allowed myself to know my rancid inner soul. No more. So I took her in my arms, hugged her, squeezed her until she was no longer there, until I only held myself. I stood up then with renewed spirit, a young girl's hope and a lust of long ago. I chose a path, a brand new road. I will not look back. I will not find shame. Thank you, thank you. And since it's a small crowd tonight, whenever we have our next big one, you guys can be like, haha, we saw Lauren read from us.
We're witnesses.
Yes, it does happen occasionally. But see, I'd rather hear you guys read. So if there's anybody, where'd you come from?
I'm working in there, but are you done reading?
I am done reading. I was
So-
about to introduce more people, but yeah.
Oh, more people are reading.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't gonna read something, but I have a story.
Okay.
So if you have time at the end, I'll tell my story.
Absolutely. Exciting night. I like it. If there's anybody who's signed up for the open mic that has not seen me, please let me know. And then our next 3 will be Andrew, Simran, and Duck. What was that sound somebody just got? You, sir.
Okay. I thought that might have been it.
I'm going to do 2. One's shorter, the other one's longer. This is called treadmill screen. It's referring to televisions and these things. All hail to the almighty screen, king that scrubs your brain squeaky clean and tells you what's real so that you don't have to think, question, or feel. Just stream and continue to dream. If it were up to me, reporters would be deported, reciting lines of lies, puppets of a system that thrives on drama, propaganda, censorship, ratings, humans hating, fear, false flags, misinformation, subjugating half-truths and tall prophets. Basically, false prophets. Caught in a network of lies, anchors more a concept deep in the depths of your mind, playing you and stripping you of your directorial debut. Intellect shunned, time for a re-election from this dark nightmare, and wake up to a life more bright and blissful, but it won't come, statistically speaking, from numbers displayed on pixels. Far too long we've been asleep. I'd rather die free than be a slave in the artificial story. So fortunately, I'm shedding layers of history and stepping back into original mystery. So please forgive me for shaking you up while you curse me out and such. But I believe in you, bidding on the leader in you, dead set and alphabet. A screen stares perception, blinding eyes, coercing choices, dictating decisions, erasing intuition, following a scripted narrative, going along, handing over power instead of creating our own, joy in the world, killing ourselves, living a lie, made by them, no surprise, open eyes, pursue the truth, question the rehearsed reality, start to understand veils, will, Xerox, and yield, Z. Woo! I drank too much matcha before I'm shaking. I'm not done. Don't mistake confidence for pompousness, because this is a war on consciousness, extinguishing your spirit and inner spark, rendering godlessness. So step off the treadmill and slip on some chainmail to escape this rat race circus, apt pace, reevaluating purpose. Running with pride, lions on the move, you won't catch me stuck glued to the tube. This just in, I'm breaking news. They won't stop me, I won't drop or cease all that the seer has seen. Solid as a rock from the ground shatters through the scene. Piercing glass, kiss my ass. Farewell, I say, and all hail to the all-lying scream. Now I'm done. All right, this next one is called, if I can find it, it's called Ceremony. And it's about, I wrote this after an ayahuasca ceremony. Where do I begin? Can't sleep. Marriage headache. Ceremony again. Rise to wake. Shine focus light on overlooked shards that cause me deep pain. Like a magnifying glass to ants, here comes the flame. Now here comes the bride. You don't have to do the work. Everything is fine. Just smile. Have a treat. It's been a while. Remain ignorant. No, I will no longer deny this subconscious cry that's calling for my attention. You can't reach the end goal by attempting to bypass and gloss over necessary stepping stones. Running out of patience, make up your mind, quick, find the words to rhyme, perfect the lines, hurry, there's no time. Shh, quiet mind. To my surprise, I realize there's something I value more than pleasure consistently, and that is realness and authenticity, which in turn comes with its ups and downs, smiles then frowns, but worth the happy end, right? Even if you knew, I wouldn't accept it until I do through direct experience, the greatest of teachers, first before college degrees and local preachers. Country town, old stomping ground, I never had a voice or chance to tell my story. You'll listen to me now, knowledge from the crown. I've graduated, cap and gown. Attempting to school me on my own flaws and vice, my mission of being lost is still more profound than your generic advice. So frustrated, so tired of people pleasing, like I'm some servant trading who I am so you'll stick around. Fuck that. Time to stand on my own 2 feet regardless of who's present. Scattered peeps. But that doesn't mean I don't still crave or desire wishing you were here. Fire next to fire. We've burned each other so much, leaned on each other like a crutch. I sometimes can't tell what's yours and what's mine. It all blurs together, invisible thin white lie. Who the hell knows what is going on? We just go off of what we learned, which doesn't seem to end. Mistakes and errors are ever-present friends. It's time to go out into the world and show people who the fuck I am and for what I stand, opening up and expose what's inside, shed the exhausting lies, becoming a man. Self-aggrandizing much? Maybe, but it certainly beats abuse, self-loathing, despising and such. So whether you're appalled or applause, doesn't much matter. At times I reach out for help and either you give me the finger or give me a hand. Nice touch, I do prefer the latter. So what exactly is the point of this rant and ramble feeding on its own production like some perpetual cannibal? Is it to impress, to prove, to brood, to stew, to chew, to lose, or to choose anything other than I have before for the sake of exploring byproducts of myself that I didn't even know were in stock at this store? Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. Get in line. I'm honest with myself to a fault. Is what I think even an original thought? For years and years I fought with myself, and from that life has taught that I don't know. I can't control what shows up on the shelf. I'll take inventory, though I'm not entirely sold until it's time to close. Let's face it, subtract the storefront from this reoccurring equation, and all we're left with is the type of loneliness that can't be solved with the addition of more people, still the same level of isolation. So open the doors, let them in, even if they trigger me. Don't be afraid to show off what you got unapologetically. There's fear of rejection, but why? It only leads back to square one, the abandonment number, of which I'm already a survivor and far from done. I've been angry at love. It's hurt so much. Piss at the man above. Relentless surgery on this heart. Blood-stained gloves and lightning to the chest. Get this thing to start before cardiac arrest. It feels like no one understands just how deeply I feel. Not even my friends, but surely I'm not the only one. Rate me again. We're not meant to do this alone or carry the weight upon our backbones. Reach out for help when you need. Be the change you want to see. It doesn't matter if people point fingers, avoiding responsibility. Just do you. Be true. Be honest and transparent. Be loving and kind. Just like the parent you always wanted to find. Fixate not on judging nor always being right, but trying your damnedest to live a good life. I feel like I could go on forever with this endless stream of poetry, a bittersweet supply of beauty and woe is me. Yeah, I know, sneaky victim mentality, unfortunately. But before I let this down, I must not forget, I have wonderful friends, a cool RV to live in, a mission to fulfill, clean food and medicines, and an ever-present chance to start over again with a new outlook on life, grasping gratitude within, despite all that's accumulated and taken its toll over the course of this very long, dark night of the soul.
Hey folks, my name is Simran. I will be performing a poem called Pink Pony Clubs and Golden Pony Boys. This is a palindromic poem, so it reads the same start to finish and finish to start. So it's a fun one to write and perform. At the very least, it all felt real to me. I wrote, and I sat my pen down, letting the lines between fiction and memoir blur as I pulled particles out of thin air and into a human body as if it were magic. I call that hope, and I need hope. I need to see the reels of my unfettered reality on the private face of my eyelids. I call that fiction, and I need fiction. It started with the question, can I take you on an adventure? She said, grabbing my hand as we ran down the streets of downtown LA, the red of the fluorescent arrows and storefront windows illuminating the freshly rained upon streets. She pushed open the door into a piano bar where Billy Joel met Halsey, met 2023 Miley Cyrus. Welcome! Welcome to the Pink Pony Club, she said, pointing to a mirror ball on the ceiling she called a kaleidoscope of she and her and they and them and me. I was hesitant at first, but then my smile gave in. I danced as freely in platform heels that night as I did in a suit that wasn't made for boobs. I sipped on sweet California soju with the cerebral kind of calmness of taking a long drag of a joint on the side of the Rocky Mountains, my feet deep in Colorado snow while my body reminisced of Southern California sun, the same sun who noticed me at the Pink Pony Club, held my figure in hers and said, "Stay golden, pony boy." I looked at her with the confusion of how she could know something so true of myself that I had not allowed myself to know yet, but the words, "Stay golden, pony boy," rang in my ears as my body melted into a mold that I can only describe as what it feels like to exist as myself. It was, yes, delusions of grandeur to exist as myself, to melt into a mold that rings, "Stay golden, pony boy." But as my body reminisced of Southern California sun and my feet dug into Rocky Mountain snow, I felt the cerebral kind of calmness of taking a long drag of a joint 18,000 feet high. I took a sip of sweet California soju and allowed myself to dance freely in both platform heels as well as a suit that wasn't made for boobs. I let my smile give in. I looked up at the mirror ball I called a kaleidoscope of she and her and they and them and me. I said, "Welcome to the Pink Pony Club," as the piano played a tune of Billy Joel meets Halsey meets 2025 Miley Cyrus. I took her hand in mine, gently, knowing that last year the sun pushed open the door of a piano bar on the fluorescently lit streets of a freshly rained upon downtown LA. So I asked, gently, "Can I take you on an adventure?" It started with that question. I call that fiction, and I need fiction. I need to see the reels of my unfettered reality on the private face of my eyelids. I need hope. I call it hope as I pushed particles out of thin air and into a human body as if it were magic. I let the lines between fiction and memoir blur. I sat my pen down, thinking, at the very least, it all felt real to me.
My name is Doug. My pen name and online presence is Benjamin Douglas Books. And I don't get to come here very often because I travel from mid-August to mid-May. So if there's ever a time when I get to be here during those months, it's a rarity. The few months during the summer that I can come here, I'm awfully grateful to Benoit for letting us into his house and living room and presenting us with this possibility. But I really wanted to just say, it's the end of the season, and Lauren, through rain, sleet, snow, she is always making this night happen, and I don't think people realize just how much work she puts into it. So a big hand to Lauren, please. Just below Canada, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, better known as the UP, sits a friendly little town known as Escanaba. Ever heard of it?
Yes.
If you haven't, don't feel bad. Most haven't. Like I said, it's little. Comparatively, however, it is a rather large fish in a very small pond. I once dated a girl from the neighboring town of Gladstone, and that place is so small even the residents aren't convinced it exists. Of the 300,000 UP residents, who are affectionately called Upers, Escanaba houses 12,000 of them, effectively boasting the big city life, the McDonald's, the Walmart, even a Starbucks, which, when it first came into town, I was fortunate enough to be present for. What a celebration. That being said, Escanaba is always reminded of its humble roots, the ma and pa shops that sell Uper Scoopers, the local pasty hangout, and even a video rental store that still rents videos, real VHS tapes. Wow, think about that for a moment. I don't mention any of this to belittle Escanaba. On the contrary, I think it's lovely. I mention it to simply point out that it's a very small community, and the airport that I flew in and out of only had one gate and 3 TSA agents. They really only needed 2, but 3 allowed flexibility for the occasional meal or smoke break. I once tried to give my girlfriend the arrival info for my flight, but she interrupted me with, "Is it the morning flight or the afternoon flight? When I hear it overhead, I'll come pick you up." It was at this airport, while preparing to board a departure flight, that I encountered my first bewildering experience with the Transportation Security Administration. Yes, TSA. I usually hit it off well with strangers, but this security agent took one look at me and decided we weren't going to get along. Or at least that's how her vibe landed on me. After scanning my luggage, she concluded that the bags would need further inspection and led me over to the table of doom, where she scrambled to find an item to inspect. Nothing was off limits. She tore through my lunch bag, my clothing, my toiletries, even my work supplies were fair game. The last call for boarding announcement seemed to provoke her even more. She had to confiscate something. With a deep dive into a side pocket, she found a deck of cards and held it up to the light. What was she looking for? There's no security strip or watermark. The worst thing she was going to find was what, a couple of jokers? As the gate agent gave me the now or never look, to which I visually replied with my best, "What do you want me to do, look?" What did our security savior do? She opened the pack and began inspecting each playing card individually. I made the flight. Exhausted and frustrated, our antagonist finally tired, and accepting defeat allowed me to board the plane. But it was too late. My relationship with TSA had begun. As it turns out, I am not the only traveler mystified by our airline security's protocol. Many people I talk to have endured interrogations as bizarre as mine. For instance, every time one of my bags gets flagged, a security rep removes all of the items that could be used as lethal weapons. My 700 feet of wire, wire cutters, needle nose pliers, puts them aside without a second glance, and then gives the evil eye to my toothpaste. I know there are rules written down somewhere which would explain conundrums such as these, and I'm grateful my supplies are all eligible to fly in my carry-on so I don't have to check a bag. Still, it has never made a whole lot of sense to me, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. The obvious items that are not allowed through security are what most of us would call obvious. Firearms, gas torches, hand grenades. Still, in 2023, TSA had to turn away 6,737 firearms. In the last quarter alone, an average of 18 firearms were found in bags going through security every day. We're not talking about checked luggage here, folks. These are carry-ons. Not only that, 93% of them were loaded. So perhaps I should go a little easier on the suitcase Secret Service. My first actual confiscation occurred on a trip home from Baltimore when my microwavable bowl of chicken noodle soup sounded the alarms. I mean, that was my fault. I'll take the blame. I mean, come on, that thing was 15.4 ounces. They had to confiscate it. Yes, most of that 15.4 was sure to be chicken noodles and all sorts of isolates, phosphates, and glutamates. But still, the actual liquid portion could very well have been over the 3.4 fluid ounce limit. There was really no way to tell other than open it up and measure. I wasn't feeling too well, and I wanted my chicken soup, but I wasn't going to get it. Though I do have to give credit to those agents for demonstrating empathy, since before throwing it in the garbage, they offered to let me take it back out of security and mail it home. Next came the peanut butter. This one caught me off guard. Regular sized jars of peanut butter are way beyond the 3.4 fluid ounce weight limits for liquids on an airplane, but it's not a liquid, right? Yeah. No, it's not technically a liquid, but it is a gel-like substance, which is another category of items not allowed through airport security. They do allow food, but it must be solid, or, as TSA puts it, the shape of the food must not be dictated by the container it calls home. To quote TSA spokesperson Dan Velez, if you can spill it, spray it, spread it, pump it, or pour it, then it's not a solid and should be packed in a check bag. Frosting is in the same category as peanut butter, but with a stipulation. If the frosting has already been placed on a food item and has hardened, you're good to go. Just remember that most airlines only allow 2 items to be carried on, and the icing-topped cake or box of cookies count as one of those items. So if you already have a roller bag, it's either your purse or the pound cake. The choice is yours. My third confiscated item was an ice pack. Now, you may say, duh, it's an ice pack, which is the same as water, but it's not. You are allowed to pass through security with a container filled with ice, as long as there is no more than 3.4 fluid ounces of water accompanying it. If your ice melts 2 seconds after you pass through TSA, you're fine. I suppose they figure frozen bombs take a long time to thaw? So, frozen ice packs are fine. If the ice pack is partially melted, however, you're probably SOL. Partially melted is, of course, a bit ambiguous. The official term the Transportation Security Administration gives this state of ice pack is slushy. But just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, or at least 3.4 fluid ounces of it, slushy, like frosting, also has a provision all its own. If your ice packs are for baby food, liquids, or gels, they have automatic clearance, slushy or not. So my advice to you is this: if you want to bring ice packs, just pump some breast milk. Or ask a friend if you can pump some of theirs. And get this, the baby food has to be present, but the baby does not. Add to that the fact that baby foods, liquids, and gels, including formula and breast milk, are not limited to the 3.4 fluid ounce rule, and you have yourself what I call a peanut butter pie-sized loophole. How does TSA know if these items really are for a baby? You do have to declare suspicious baby items upon meeting the first TSA agent in the lineup, But after that, you are goo goo gaga good. So I recommend pouring your sweet tea into an opaque baby bottle, placing your yogurt in a Gerber baby meal tub, and scooping your banana smoothies, hummus, and guacamole into baby food jars. A final word of warning, be cautious of anything that can melt. For instance, a standard Hershey's chocolate bar weighs 1.55 ounces, which, if melted, yields 1.3485 fluid ounces, meaning in order to stay under the 3.4 fluid ounce rule, even if all your chocolate melted, you could still safely bring aboard approximately 2.5 Hershey bars. Of course, not all of the melted chocolate will be able to be measured, since some of it will stick to the wrapper or rub off on the TSA agent's shirt. So you could probably get away with the full 3 bars. In the end, just to be safe, I recommend eating at least 5 or 6 individual squares of the 3rd bar before going through security, or at least bring an ice pack so none of your chocolate melts. Or even better, say it's for the baby, and then just to prove a point, make sure your ice packs are slushy.
Fuck TSA, man. I've been felt up in so many airports to the point I looked at this one woman like, you buying me dinner or something? She lifted and separated, and I'm like, there is nothing in there. Just some boob sweat from being in this airport for 11 hours. Thank you for that comment, Doug. I appreciate that. Thanks. I am grateful to folks like you, Micah, Christian, everybody that hasn't gotten to read every month, Nelson, but you guys keep coming back and you keep supporting me, and that helps me keep coming. Honestly, here too, to be on this stage. So I'm grateful for everyone and that support, and those of you who even come to just listen. I don't know how to explain how much that really means to me and keeps this going. So thanks to all of you also. And well, you know the story? I see him moving.
He's coming. I can see it.
Well, first, I have a question. Anybody read my Facebook post today?
I did not.
Okay, good. So that's good. So listen, first of all, I am not a poet and I'm not a writer. I'm a musician and I'm a amateur composer, but I had a good, career in music. I also dabble in visual arts, but I'm colorblind, and so it's always given interesting results because I'm not scared of anything. So I've painted a lot in my a long time ago. And everything had to be 5 minutes or less for me. Every piece had to be 5 minutes or less. So in 30 seconds, I did a self-portrait, which gave this. That's my But this is when I had long hair. But that's really my self-portrait. That's true. It's on my website. It may or may not look like me, but that's as far as my artistic visual artist talent goes. So I want to, since it's Father's Day, I'd like to take a few minutes and tell you a little bit about my father. And maybe next Mother's Day, I'll tell you a little bit about my really incredible mom, who is truly a feminist warrior, pioneer. I have so many stories, and hopefully they will delight you at some point in the future. So my dad, so let's talk about where he was born. So about 250 miles north of Maine. So you can picture in your mind a little fishing village in Maine, where none of the boats are working, and where most of the village is along the one road along the ocean. It's located in Gaspésie, so it's across the bay from New Brunswick. So you have Maine, then New Brunswick on top, and then Gaspésie, and the Baie des Chaleurs is in between. So it's you know, it's not too far geographically from the Bay of Fundy, you know, like in Nova Scotia where the tides are so incredibly fast and stuff. All right, so you can see like there's a farmland and stuff, and you can see like totally destroyed boats like a few hundred yards from the road, stuff like that. So I never saw the house where my father was born and grew up, but my brother did, and he described this. He described it as like this to me, because my brother has a farm in near Quebec City, and he said, "Come here," and he brought me to the barn where he kept the pigs. And he says, "This looks a lot better than it's a lot sturdier. It's a stronger building than where my dad actually grew up." And so you can see outside now. You remember that we're talking about Quebec and Canada, so it's cold in the winter, and so they were incredibly poor. Okay, my dad's father was a lumberjack, which means he only worked 6-7 months out of the year when the ground was frozen and the trees were frozen, because they did there's only coniferous trees, and so cedar was the industry, right? And so you can only chop those in the winter because otherwise it's gummy and everything, you can't work. So the father was gone, and it's a really, really hard life because you're by yourself. Back then, you were by yourself, and once a week you'd have a team of horses come and meet you, grab the wood, and drop some flour and biscuits and matches if you needed them, and that's it. And then you would see human beings a week later on Friday when they would come up and get your new wood, right? And so, anyways, my dad got a 4th grade education, and then he actually went and did that life. And so he, like from the 12 to 16, that's what he did. He spent his winters alone in a collapsible little wood shack, like about 6 by 6. Which they would move every week. So you'd move a couple of 100 yards, and that's, you know, that's the life he led. And then he moved to Grand-Mère in Mauricie, so close to Quebec City, several hundred miles from where he grew up. When his mom relocated there and remarried, because my dad's father died at 47, drowning, I suspect had like incredibly like difficult mental health issues. If you can imagine, like they had 7 kids, which was actually a pretty small family back then. My dad was the youngest. And so like you spend your entire winter by yourself, and then you get home, you have no work for the rest of the time until the next winter, and you're stuck in a barn with 7 kids yelling and throwing, like, you know, it must have been really anyways, I don't know for sure, but he drowned at 47 years old while he institutionalized for mental health problems. So I also suspect he may have hit his wife, but I don't know any of that because all of this was complete mystery. It was really hard to get anybody to talk about any of that. So anyways, my dad got his electrician's card. So he went to trade school, 16, 17, he got his card, and then my mom and my dad met and fell in love when he was, I guess, 18, 19. Except my mom was 5 years older than he was. So this was impossible. They had to leave town and go to the big city to live the rest of their life together, because that was not allowed. You could not be a woman and date a younger man. It was not possible. So they had me and like blah blah blah, you know, like we eventually moved to the suburb for a few years. Anyways, I'm gonna skip to he bought a piece of land in the woods in the like just 500 feet before the Laurentian Mountains, like, so literally like the rock face, you know, like started like 500 feet across the street, or the rural road that was unpaved, you know. Anyways, so we did that, and we built our own house. We lived in a little cabin that belonged to the nuns, that used to be the nuns' vacation spot. That piece of land that we bought, you know, there was a river running on it and stuff. So my father never really, like, there was 2 Jean-Marie. So there was the musician, he played fiddle, his mom played fiddle, he played guitar, he sang, you know, very talented musician. And he jammed like 2-3 times a week at the house. Never played for an audience, but he played with his friends, you know, and with 24 case of beer, usually. And he was like the life of the party. If there was a party or any gathering of anything, anybody, he was the center of it. Like he was that. But when people left with the family, he barely ever spoke. He showed everything to us by example, and he treated us as adults. Like at 8 years old, I was helping build the house, and what I was doing was like, okay, so like he would give me a measurement, and I took the saw, like, and I was 8 years old. Like literally, he said, "No, you can do it. Like, you're smart enough to cut a piece of wood and stuff like that." Like he would show me how to do it, and then do it, and that's it. Like expecting me to help him build a house, and so forth. So. What you also have to know is that he was an inventor. So if people had things that they couldn't figure out, they would come and see my dad. So he made like seats for a Kevlar canoe. So first of all, the owner of the company had to come from Montreal, like it's an hour north of Montreal, to show him the Kevlar canoe, because he said, "I don't know what the Kevlar canoe is. Like I don't, And so he saw it, he lifted it. It's like, "Oh my God, it's so light, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Okay, what do you need?" "Well, I need the seats that can be completely adjustable." And of course, a canoe is completely irregular shaped, and so he said, "Okay, I'll figure it out." And the next morning, they were not only figured out, they were built. And then he called the guy back, "Okay, you're done." And the guy actually got a patent for these. Not my dad, but he didn't care about any of that. So, and he sold his Kevlar canoes with adjustable seats that my dad, and so forth. Like he made his own tools, all that kind of thing. Very, very, very smart man. Also, we used to spend our summers, like he took a job in a hospital as an electrician, because he could take extended, unpaid leave, right? So he could, because my mom was a elementary school teacher, and so she had long vacation during the summer, so he would match his vacation with hers so that we could go. And when we did our vacations, they were canoe camping vacations. So that means you live in a canoe, the two parents and the two kids, for 6 weeks. You get dumped by a plane up like several hundred miles at the source of a river, and then we would go down the river for 6 weeks, and we did that like all across Canada, everywhere. So, and he showed us how to survive in the winter, because of course he did that as a kid. It was like his way of life, basically. And so without a tent and without anything, like just a box, like a little container of matches and a knife and a snare wire, you're set, you're fine. You can survive in the winter, no problem. So all of these things. He also had a knack. So here's a side story. So he designed and made his own snowshoes, and he used 300-pound cod fishing wire instead of the babiche, the leather, that people usually use, like the cowhide stuff. And so it was fishing wire. It was like the snow would go right through. It's super light. It's like my brother still uses snowshoes that my dad made in 1970 to this day. Like they're still. So anyways, so he's up snowshoeing in the mountains, in the woods, and he meets this 100-year-old Norwegian guy skiing. And he says, "Wow, that's amazing. Not downhill skiing, like cross-country skiing." Because that's what the Norwegian guy grew up with, and he brought that to Canada. And so, anyways, it turns out that my dad said, "That's a great idea." He made his own skis, and he popularized cross-country skiing in Quebec, starting in the late 60s. And so, not only that, he met at some point Olympic cyclist and the Olympic team, a Canadian team, and said, "Hey, I got this new sport for you that you can do during the winter." And then he, introduced him to that sport, coached him. That guy ended up winning gold medals at the Olympics in cross-country skiing, and of course he had medals in cycling. And that's, by the way, one of the few athletes in history to win medals both in summer games and winter games. And well, there's a few bobsled people because they're sprinters, but there's other people, but pretty few. And my dad, and then we had, while we lived in the suburbs, we had tenants in the basement. A couple, they were both police officers, and he showed the wife how to archery, because my dad was a sharpshooter. Like he could hunt with bow and arrow, because then they could poach to feed their family, like as kids, because they were very poor. And so she ended up going to the Olympics and winning a medal. So my dad is one of the few coaches in history to coach somebody who won a medal in winter game, and somebody who won a medal in the summer games, which is pretty cool for somebody with a 4th grade education. You know, it's pretty. Wow. So, and the other thing is that he had a knack for saving people's lives. So like every as a side job. So well, he worked in a hospital, but like for some reason, like the universe sent him at the site of accidents, like all the time. So at least once a month, he would come home late. Like so, if he wasn't late, I would come. My brother and I would come home first, and then because my mom taught at the school, then she would come. Like she'd had meetings and stuff, and then she would come home later. So that's when all the mischief happened between my brother and I. I got like 2x4 on my by the head. We played with knives, like all kinds of like crazy stunts, you know. We used to wrestle on the top of the house that we built, like, you know, in the wintertime, and it was who could throw the other guy off the roof, you know. It was a 2-story house with a very, like, it was this as tall as this house basically. So it was like, you know, all kinds of things. And then my mom would arrive, and then like you know, maybe an hour later, whatever, half an hour later, my dad would arrive, and then it was a 45-minute smooching session in the when we, you know, in the Porsche where you come into the house. They were in love, okay? Like Saturday morning, my brother and I, we could like pillow fight on top of them. We could do anything. Saturday morning, Sunday morning, it was absolutely, they were, you could not disturb them, like undisturbable. Like it was their time, okay? So, but anyway, so once a month, he would come home late, and then, oh yeah, somebody like, you know, their leg was cut off in a car accident. I had to stay there until blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, okay. And it became completely normal. One of these events, like, so I was a competitive cross-country skier because, you know, it's a normal thing to do. I remember training with like a headlamp and like a bunch of 6-volt, this big 6-volt batteries, you know. We had those all across because I would ski maybe like 800, 1,000 miles per week, you know, like we skied a lot, like it was a lot. So, and it's dark at like 2 p.m. up north, so it's always in the dark, so like training in the dark, you know. So he would train with me and play 3 hockey games a week in an amateur league. So he was a pretty active guy. And one time, that would have been in 1979, and I would have been in March 1979, one of his best friends, got cut by a skate, you know, on the ice. And so it was the artery side, not the vein side. So you have to hold both ends and like let some blood through, because otherwise, you know, the blood's not gonna get like it, you know. So he did that until the ambulance arrived, and then the guys were having trouble on the ice, you know, the ambulance people. So they're having trouble. So, and anyways, he saved that guy's life. His friend survived. He kept doing that in the ambulance all the way to the hospital, and even in the operating room until like it was time to operate. Like he was still holding his artery together. So now I'm gonna jump a year later. Okay. So I'm 15 years old. It's the 30th of March, 1980, or the 28th of March, 1980, actually. And he finally convinced that same guy to go see a hockey game, to go watch a hockey game. And so he brought him to watch him play, you know, like that guy didn't want to set foot in the arena or a skating rink, you know. Anyways, that same night, my dad died of a massive heart attack on the ice in front of his friend who could not help him, and like that was it. And the house wasn't finished yet. So I'm 15, I'm going to college, like right, it's March, and I'm going to college in September. And I had to finish the house by myself because my brother's younger than me. And he could not function after my dad died for about a year or two. He could not function at all. So I did that. I applied what my father taught me, and I finished the house by myself. Wow. And then I went to college, you know. And everything I do now, I do in honor of my parents. Like, so, like, you know, I built this place thanks to the things that I learned from my dad. And I do this thanks to all the energy that my mom did. Like after my dad died, she never remarried, she never dated anybody, she never like looked at another man or any, but she did start a literacy program for adults, a nonprofit, and like she was constantly, and then she quit school. I won't talk about my mom too much, but a lot of what my mom did for society, for the world, is because my dad died. You know, like it's obvious that it changed my life. I was going to be a physicist. I went into music, and I changed my life completely. And not only what I do, but how I do it, and you know how we give to the community. I learned all of that from my parents. So I just wanted you to know that. And my father was called Jean-Marie, and my youngest son is also called Jean-Marie. So, and it's of course in honor of my dad. So that's it. I'm done.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I've never gotten to hear Benoit tell a story like that, and also just Benoit telling a story for this event. That's fantastic. And if you want to write your governor a letter, what better story could you tell, right? So that is it for tonight. As usual, we will do the performer's photo up on the stage. Again, I am really grateful for all of you guys. Promote not only the show, but the venue. Go into Orlando Weekly, vote, post your pictures, post your videos, and I will see all of you guys in August. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janas. Thank you so much.